All right, all right. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to an episode of the Coffee Q&A, your daily dose of coffee Q&A here on the onocoffee channel. I'm your host, and today we're going to be talking about the OXO cold brew, more brewing with the OXO cold brew, specifically the soup recipe, and then we're also going to be tasting some of these little cheddar cheese biscuits that I found. These are from a company called Cartwright and Butler. I'm assuming there. Mouth-watering cheddar cheese biscuits. So we're going to check that out and see what there's to see. And something just happened. Like, I just got a clog in my ear, and now I can't hear out of this. So, hope your weekend was good. How's it going? Everyone doing well? We are here and making coffee. What was I thinking? There was something I wanted to relate to you, but now I can't remember. Oh, let's get into the coffee. So today's coffee is what they call soup, and soup is a type of espresso making that is designed to be low pressure. So the cats from Intelligentsia in their video were talking about how this guy named DC or DC created this on the Flare 58, and the idea is that you want to brew a shot of espresso with less than 1 bar or no more than 1 bar of pressure. And evidently this cat in the video was like making it a 3 bar, and it was terrible. It was terrible. And so supposedly this is supposed to be a great way to make espresso. But before we begin, I should tell you about my personal prejudices, because that may or may not influence and color the way that we make the coffee today, or how I perceive the coffee. And I think it's important to recognize bias in who you're listening to, so that you can consider and evaluate and decide whether or not you should listen to the blowhard that's speaking on your screen to determine whether or not it's the right way for you to go. Now, you guys who watch the show, I know I've been in the coffee business for a long time now, and one of the things is when you start out in a business, you're all like gung-ho, you're all like experimental, and then you settle into ways and you become kind of a curmudgeon, and you're like, why would you do that? That's stupid, because we tried that many years ago and it's terrible. Now, I don't know if the soup thing is that necessarily, and I have certainly, taken my La Marzocco Linea, the big commercial machines, bypassed the actual pump, and ran shots just using line pressure, which is somewhere between 3 to 4 psi, right? Is that right? Yeah, I think it's 3 or 4 psi. So maybe not quite. I don't know how many bars that would be, but like we would try that, and we would run the machine cold and push it through, and we would run it hot and push it through just with line pressure. So I'm not necessarily against experimentation, but for me, it's like when I hear people talk about the soup and I hear this recipe and I think about what they're talking about, it all sounds like under-extracted espresso to me, especially since everybody's like, I really love, and especially this whole new trend in the last 10 so years of coffee has been moving towards these lighter roasted, bright coffees, and they want to accentuate more of the brightness. Like, one of the things that I don't really enjoy about going to a lot of modern specialty cafes is this super bright, super light roasted coffee where it's just like brightness, acidity, and just that kind of a bomb thing. And I'm not a fan of that. Like, I've had good examples. I've enjoyed it on occasion, but overall, generally, I'm like, what is this under-extracted espresso? So that's kind of my bias in coffee. So that's not to say that we haven't, at Spro, we haven't done light roasted coffees. We haven't offered bright coffees. We've done all of that. But it's like, when it comes to my personal preference, that's something, and that's the nice thing about coffee is that, and especially for the home enthusiasts, is that you only really need to make coffee for yourself. It's really just that pleasurable hedonism of enjoyment for you. So whether or not I think, as a coffee professional who's been doing it for 20 plus years, whether I think that soup and this light espresso is just utter rubbish and a waste of people's time, if you enjoy it, that's all that really matters. That's truly the thing. Like in my role as a coffee purveyor, especially in a retail environment, we're interested in providing coffee for a wider range of people, right? Like if it was just me all by myself making coffee, I'd probably be sitting around with like blueberry flavored naturals that are just, and I'd be very, very giddy about it. I'd be very happy. I'd be like, life is great. Coffee's awesome. Right? That's my jam, right? But in a professional environment, you want to provide, or at least we wanted to provide coffee for a wide range of people, for people that would come in, those who like that blueberry jammy stuff, and then those who think that that blueberry jammy coffee is total defect and utter rubbish and should be erased from the earth, right? As well as the young hipster that's like, hey man, or millennial that's like, I want to get some bright coffee to match, my predilection for heavy hops IPAs. Right? So that's where the difference lies. But I wanted to let you, I think it's important to talk about the bias of the people that you're dealing with so that you can evaluate for yourself, because like I said, for me, it is always about personal enjoyment. You using this and making it home is just for yourself. Like I think Kent's one of the great examples of that. He's just like, I'm going to buy this. I'm going to spend crazy amounts of money to have this. And then I'm going to sit down and I'm going to have a small cup of coffee just for myself. No food, just myself. And that's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. Kiri's with us. Hello to you. Kent's also here with us. Oh, good to see you, man. Good to see you. Mom is with us here too. Good morning. Russell, good morning as well. Coffee Cove, good morning. And Johnny, I've got my shirt, rice, beef patty, eggs, and gravy. So this, guys, if you've ever been curious about Hawaii food from Hawaii, this is the recipe for what's called loco moco, right? Rice on the bottom, beef patty, then we have eggs, fried eggs, sunny side up with like brown gravy and not like fancy gravy, right? One of the guys that I know out here in Baltimore opened a Hawaiian restaurant, and he's a local guy from Kauai, right? So the guy knows food, he knows the cuisine, he can cook, and he actually was a fine dining chef for many years, which is fine. And he would make the loco moco, and he did it well, nice beef patty, nice egg, over rice, and then he had the gravy. But the gravy, because he's a fine dining chef, he wanted to like give a nice fine dining twist, and so he made this really beautiful au jus, and it's a beautiful like thick au jus, and it's super nice and super beefy flavored. I was like, yeah, that's good. It's really great. If you put it on if you plated it and you put it on my filet mignon, I'd be super stoked. But on my loco moco, it was good. I enjoyed it. I went to go have it. But to my low country palate, nothing beats the canned or like powdered fast food, like food service. You whisk it, brown gravy. That's just generic, and you just slather that on and just pour it there, and then you add like that Tabasco, and then you break through the egg, and so the egg oozes out, and you mix it with everything. God, and then you chop. I don't know how you guys eat it. Man, that's how I eat. Like if I had my druthers, that would be what I would do day and night. All right, so now that we've got all that out of the way, Andrew Boyle, good morning to you, man. How are you doing? Keone says, loco moco brown gravy is the key. Yeah, totally. I never liked espresso until I went to Italy and had lever pulled espresso. Yeah, and I think, I always think that there's always some kind of triggering event that brings you into something. I think something that just kind of gives you new perspective. And I think in your case, in a lot of people's case, they go to Italy and they have espresso there, and it's different because it's not. I find that espresso in Italy to be very accessible, meaning that the flavors aren't extreme. Like here in America, the flavors are extreme. Right? Whether it's like the regular black espresso that people get, it's very like bitter, it's very viscous, and then you go to like modern specialty coffee cafes where they're the places that like the soupy kind of stuff, and it's bright and like it's extremes. We like extremes. But in Italy, like I remember one year I was driving around and I was like, I stopped by the what is it, the Autostrada? No, I was on the Autostrada, and I stopped by the Autoserve or whatever service centers are, the rest areas. And it was like late in the evening, 10 o'clock at night or something like that. It was already dark. Maybe it was winter time, so it was probably just, 4. But I'm driving and I stopped in and I was like, oh, I should get an espresso. So I got an espresso. When in my world of third wave specialty coffee, like it's not great espresso. It's nothing. But it's just in Italy, it's very standardized. It's very simple. It's very approachable. It's very approachable. It's really the best way to put it. Like it is super, like it's balanced. It's clean for the most part, but it's just easy to drink. And so I think that's a great entry. And I think that, maybe if we had more of that here in the United States, at least, or maybe even around the world, maybe more people would be interested in espresso, just having that nice, like 1.5 to 2 ounce hit of coffee. Kent says, my rapid brewer finally arrived. Oh, 20 minutes ago. Oh, nice. Nice. Congratulations. So you should be busting it out. Do an unboxing video for your Instagram. That'd be kind of fun. Anton says, some people yearn for the battery acid. I hear you. I may think that, the idea of drinking battery acid and like super bright coffees and all that kind of stuff is dumb. But I'm not here to like stop anyone from enjoying what they enjoy, right? So that's why I'm saying all these like biases up front, just so that as we can, because the whole idea of soup, I don't know, whatever it is, but there's something about the idea of the soupiness that just kind of like makes me feel a little bit triggered. So I'm like, but we're going to try it and see. So our recipe today is going to be 20 grams of coffee, which as I'm reading these or hearing these recipes, I'm just like, what, 20 grams again? Like, is that all we're doing? 20 grams of coffee, 80 grams of water. And if you've got a coffee, if you've got a brewer that's pretty much regulated and controlled in pressure and how it dispenses, is there really going to be that much difference? Like, in all the recipes we've tried, have we tried anything that with this coffee that I think is really like awesome and amazing that I'm going to do? And I don't want to bring conclusion just yet because we're still not finished with our series here. But I'm like, I don't know. Like I'm like, I would like something more. Now we're going to go and get our coffee. Now our coffee is the same coffee we've always been using, the Misty Valley from Ethiopia, grade 1 Yirgacheffe, made by or produced by Abdullah Bagesh, a buddy of mine, old guy I've known for many, many years, and makes beautiful coffee. And here it is. So I've been saying this same spiel for the last like 9 episodes. So I'm not going to go too much more into it. If you want to hear more about Abdullah and more about the Misty Valley and how much I typically like it, then you can, if you watch some of the old videos, right? So now we've got so the cats from Intelligentsia were like, you want to grind the coffee fine enough so that it basically retards the flow of the water through the coffee bed when you put it in. What does that mean? I'm not really sure. And I wrote that in the description for the recipe down below. But so if pour overflows through well, and espresso would retard that significantly, and AeroPress kind of holds in. I think that means we want to go finer than AeroPress, right? So we are here at the 3. So maybe we should stay there. No, let's go a little bit further. Let's go to 2. I'm going to go to the 2 setting on here, which to this miscalibrated grinder, who knows what that means? I don't know. Is that fine enough? Maybe not. But let's see. Is it seizing? Oh, look, there's no more seizing. I don't know what happened to it. It was seizing last time. Like tight. Maybe it backed off. Who knows? All right, let's get some coffee. We need to measure out 20 grams. Oops. Mapu's with us. Good to see you. And Anton says, if you get the soup right, it is not sour. It is an intense but balanced acidity. I find that hard to believe. If your coffee and grinder are good, the acidity will have structure and bring great enjoyment. All right, all right. I'm only messing with you, man. I am. While I may be on the verge of being triggered by all of this, I am. I would like to believe that I am open to exploration and trying these recipes and trying to keep an open mind. But part of the reason why I tell you my bias is so that you'll know that you can judge for yourself. Am I just lying to you? Like, am I just being nice so that other YouTubers won't get mad at me? The answer to that is definitely no. But you know, you can figure. You know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. You guys have been here long enough to know. 20.4. Do we need to be so specific? Okay, 20 grams of coffee. Now we're going to put that in our grinder. Set to the 2. Oops. I really like this coffee. It's got a nice, like, jammy aroma when you grind it. Like, it just kind of comes up. I think it's coming through the auger and just kind of blowing in my face. And I was like, I kind of like that. It doesn't have the heavy blueberry that I always look for. Who was it that was talking about different varieties? Was that you, Kent, that was talking about different varieties of blueberry? And you're like, you haven't had any blueberry? In all the years you've been in the business, you haven't had any blueberry flavor since 2008? What's wrong with you? All right, here's our grind. Looks fairly fine. Oh, look at it. It's even clumping right there. Clumpy. It looks like some clumpy. A tendency for clumping. Maybe that could be a good movie title. Anton says, I am drinking Sehelo Hartumi Ethiopia landrace. Wow, that is. Say that 5 times fast. Halo Hartumi, what is it? Halo Hartumi Ethiopia landrace. Halo Hartumi Ethiopia landrace. Halo Hartumi Ethiopia landrace. Halo Hartumi Ethiopia landrace. Ooh, not bad. Huh? Not bad. That was only 4. Right now, and it's incredible. Oh, awesome. I wish roaster here in Cologne would roast like that. So I'm presuming that it's very light and enjoyable. Is it in your roasters in Cologne? Is it a question more of they don't roast to the degree that you prefer, or they just don't buy the quality of coffee that you'd like to see? Because I think that's always like a hand in hand, or that's always like 2 components, right? Like, there's buying really nice, high quality coffee, and then there's also the way they roast it. And so, like, sometimes you have roasters that may be capable roasters, may be capable of roasting in certain different ways, but they just don't buy necessarily more esoteric coffees. Maybe that's the best way to put it, or the best way to describe it, not necessarily to put it. Cutie says, I've been having some really good Ka'u medium dark roast with my flare and a step-down basket. Oh, nice. Which farm? Do you know what farm the Ka'u is coming from? Or is it from the big Ka'u coffee mill? Anton says, flare and step-down basket was complicated. In my opinion, if I put the spring on the min puck, oh yeah, that's right. I have to order that still. And then I put the spring on the min puck screen and the flare puck screen on the spring and try to get that in without the spring. Oh, without the spring, the coffee would float up. Oh, so that's what I was wondering. When I saw that spring in Hoon's video, I figured that, but does the coffee actually float in that? Power plant, so that's what's going on. Hello. When they tried to convince us poorly tasting is good. Anton says, maybe you'll enjoy your soup if you fix your grinder. Hey man, that's not nice. That's very rude. That's mean. That's mean-hearted. It's not my fault. It's Flair. It's Fellows. Blame Fellow. Blame the manufacturer. Don't blame the user. Especially since you actually see me using it. You pretty much I pretty much only use this grinder when we're here. So you've seen almost the entirety of its of its existence and operation. It's not bad. It's not bad. It's a nice grinder. I'm kind of liking it. Overall, I'm kind of liking it. Kelly says, Anton, I don't use the spring and have had no problem with the puck floating up. Okay. And then Anton says, by the way, I read someone who had a similar issue as me with the grinder, and he ended up finding out that he was slowly grinding down his back plate. Oh. We will have to maybe take it apart. I mean, it makes sense because there's nothing in the grinder to cause the seizing, right? Like we've been measuring this 20 grams in, 20 grams out, thanks to Omniel.